You know the feeling. We've all been there. You hit a setback. A project fails, you get rejected, just a really tough moment. And all of a sudden, you're in a fight. And it's not just with the situation, but with that voice inside your own head. So, okay, let's dive into how we can build a really practical toolkit to navigate these exact moments and turn those setbacks into actual stepping stones. For social smarts, so let me just ask you, straight up, when things go wrong, what's that voice in your head sound like? For so many of us, it's that harsh inner critic, right? Just pointing out every single little thing we did wrong. But what if? What if we could actually choose a different voice? And believe me, that choice has real-world consequences. It's like a fork in the road. That path of self-criticism, it almost always leads straight to anxiety and shame, and it just keeps us completely stuck. But the other path, self-compassion, well, that's the foundation for real resilience, for motivation that actually lasts, and for genuine growth. Today, we're building the toolkit for that second path.
All right, our first tool. This is maybe the most essential one for right after a setback hits. I want you to think of it like your first aid kit for emotional pain. It's what you reach for the second it starts to hurt.
So what even is self-compassion? Dr. Kristen Neff, who's a total pioneer in this research, gives us this brilliant, simple definition. It's nothing complicated, you know? It's just about offering yourself the exact same kindness you would automatically, instinctively offer a good friend who's having a hard time.
For strategists. Now, for all the planners out there, this is where it gets really interesting. We can actually break this down into a clear framework. See, self-compassion isn't just some vague, fluffy feeling. It has three core logical parts. Self-kindness, that's being gentle with yourself. Common humanity, that's remembering you're not alone, that struggling is part of being human. And mindfulness, which is just noticing your pain without getting totally swept away by it.
For explorers, and here's something that just flips a huge myth on its head. A lot of us were taught that being hard on ourselves is what drives success, but the research is crystal clear. Self-compassion actually builds more grit and way more sustainable motivation. It's the motivation of care, not the motivation of fear, and it is just so much more effective in the long run. Okay, so how do we actually do this? Here's a super safe, practical technique you can use literally anytime you need it. It's a simple, doable, three-step process. Soften, soothe, and allow. It's designed to help you work with difficult emotions right in the heat of the moment. Let's just focus on that second step for a second. Soothe. It's about physically placing a hand over your heart or wherever you feel that emotional pain, and just offering yourself some kind words. This image just captures that warmth perfectly. It's the kind of warmth you'd give to someone you really truly care about without even thinking twice. Okay, so once we've managed that immediate pain, our next tool helps us build a blueprint for what comes next. We're shifting gears from emotional first aid to proactive construction. This is all about building real, functional hope. For strategists, this isn't just about wishful thinking. A psychologist named Rick Snyder developed something called hope theory, and it defines hope not as some random emotion that comes and goes, but as a structured, cognitive process. This is a total game changer because it means hope is a skill we can actually learn and build. And this just boils it down perfectly. The formula is actually really simple. Hope equals agency plus pathways. Agency, that's your willpower, your motivation, that feeling of I can do this. And pathways, that's your way power, your ability to come up with actual concrete plans to get where you want to go. Let's break that down even more. Agency thinking is your engine. It's all about your self-belief, your determination. Pathways thinking, on the other hand, is your GPS. It's about generating a few different routes to your goal, planning for roadblocks, and being flexible enough to switch gears when one path closes. You absolutely need both to move forward. And get this, this is the part almost nobody talks about. There's a real biological payoff here. The actual act of hopeful thinking, of using both your willpower and your planning brain, it stimulates the release of endorphins in your body. Hope literally feels good because it is changing your body's chemistry. It's not just in your head. So we have our emotional first aid kit, and we have our blueprint for the future. Our final tool is all about daily action. These are the rules of the road that give you structure and guide your day-to-day recovery and growth. Now, the really crucial point here, as this quote explains so well, is that bouncing back isn't just about stopping old, unhelpful habits. It's about fundamentally redesigning your life so that the new, healthy path is actually the easier one to take. For settlers and for strategists. And here are the 5 simple rules that give you that structure. Think of them as your new daily operating system. Number 1, Change your life. Build a new world for yourself where healthy choices are the default. 2. Be completely honest. With yourself, first and foremost, and then with others. 3. Ask for help. Resilience is not a solo sport. 4. Practice self-care. And finally, number 5. Don't bend the rules. No loopholes, no, just this once.
Rule number 4, practice self-care, is really the glue that holds all of this together. It's the critical link that connects right back to our very first tool, self-compassion. And here's why that's so important. Most relapses, whether we're talking about emotional spirals or old habits, they don't start with some big mistake. They start small, when we just stop taking care of our own basic needs.
So, how do all these tools actually fit together in the real world? Let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture, because these aren't just isolated tricks. They are all essential parts of the much broader journey of living a resilient life. For strategists, psychologists have actually mapped this journey into a few distinct stages. It often starts with moratorium, which is that feeling of hopelessness, then moves to awareness, preparation, action, and finally, an ongoing commitment. Knowing these stages kind of gives you a roadmap so you can figure out where you are and what to expect next.
For settlers and for social smarts. But it is so important to remember this. It is never, ever a straight line. Setbacks are just part of the process. If you're the kind of person who feels like you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back sometimes, I just want you to know you are not alone. That's what the journey actually looks like for pretty much everyone.
So let's put it all together right here. This is your Resilience Toolkit, all in one place. You've got self-compassion for that immediate emotional first aid. You've got hope theory for building and achieving your future goals. And you've got the 5 rules for that essential daily structure. 3 different tools for 3 very different jobs.
And that really brings us to the final and most important point. The next setback, it's going to come. It's just an inevitable part of living a full life. But now you have a toolkit. The question is no longer, will I be okay? The question is, how will I choose to rebuild?
If this touched your heart, please subscribe, like, and share it with your family. Save this for more meaningful content ahead.